Hi everyone, it's Nick from FitBanker. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of how to set MyFitnessPal up and how to use it. So first things first, this is the home screen. This is the default screen that you should normally see. It gives you a running idea of your calories that you've had today. So if you look at the top, you can see 2,600 as the goal, which is my goal. Then minus the food that you've eaten that day, plus how much exercise, and it gives you a simple calculation to figure out how much you've got remaining. Okay, so what we're going to do first is set the application up. There's a little bit of stuff that you need to do to make sure that this is running right. So top left, you'll see three little white bars. That enters the menu system. So if you click that, you'll have the menu system. So the first thing we need to do is go into settings. And then if we go into the profile at the top, now some of this will be set up when you initially install the application. So just go into this profile section and make sure this is all right, your height, date of birth, your gender, all that sort of stuff. The most important thing in here, apart from your height, is the units. If you look down below zip code, it has a selection of units. So click on that row and then it will bring it up. I know some people, if you're in England, stone is usually quite a good one, but a lot of people use kilograms and pounds. So select whichever weight preference is yours. Then go into the height option, again, feet or inches or centimeters, depending on which one you want to use. Then go into your distance, kilometers, miles, pretty self-explanatory. And energy, let's all use calories because it keeps it consistent and it makes it much easier for everyone. So click OK. And if you're happy that that's set up correctly, in the top left, you'll see a little arrow that goes back. Click that, and then that's done. So the next thing we need to do is go back into the menu system, and we need to click on goals. This is the next section that needs to be set up. So both your profile and your goals need to be set up before you start doing anything else. Again, when you first install this application, it may ask you for some of these details, but it is worth just going in and just double checking that it is correct. So start from the top, starting weight, type in your weight, click on the date and make sure that that date is correct, and then click set. That'll bring it, that should automatically enter your current weight. Then look at your goal weight and go in there and just move the sliders up and down depending on what you're trying to achieve. Click cancel there. Weekly goal, again, depending on what you're trying to do, gain, lose, maintain, you can select there. And then activity level, next one. So this isn't actually talking about how much exercise you do, it's just talking about your typical day. So if you're sitting at a desk all day for 8 hours or whatever you do for your job and you're not very active during the day, then you click not very active. If you're on your feet and you're walking around a bit more, then maybe lightly active. If you're doing something a bit more physical, then active. And if you're outside or doing something very physical throughout the day, then click very active. So that is not how much exercise you're doing for the day. That is your normal daily routine. That's what that's talking about. So that's fine. Don't get too bogged down with how much weight am I trying to aim for or how much do I want to lose. If you've got a rough idea, then go for that. Okay, don't get all upset about I need the exact figure. Just enter what you think is appropriate, and we will work with you over the course of the challenge to tweak and make sure that you're on track and it's all it's all correct. So the next one to do in this goals section is under nutrition goals. So if you look at calorie and macronutrient goals, click on that one. This is this basically sets it all up for you, so it should give you an indication of what calories it's asked you to do. So if I go back, I'll show you what I mean. When you've selected your current weight and the goal weight you're looking to achieve, and how much you're looking to lose or maintain, then it should work out for you how many calories you have. Your goal for that day. So if we go back into calories and macro goals, you'll see here the calories which should worked out. Now the most important thing here is to set up your macro goals. So you've got carbohydrates, protein and fat. If you click on any of those lines, I'm going to click on the carbohydrate line, you'll see now you've got this I suppose this percentage chart here. If you look down the bottom right, it'll tell you when you're at 100%. So we're aiming for 30% carbs. So you move that, shift that around till you get to 30%. 40% protein, again, shift that around until you get 40. And then 30% fat, and again, you just shift that around to 30. You'll see the bottom right, it'll say 100%. And then the important thing here is to click the white tick at the top right, not the white arrow. If you click the white arrow, then it won't, it probably won't save it. So click the tick and just check that that's all correct. And then if you go top left and click the arrow to go back, we are pretty much done there. So that's the fundamentals of setting it up. Yeah, it's just a case of going to your settings, going into your profile, checking all that's correct, and then once you've done that, going back into the menu system, go into settings. No, go into goals. My apologies. Top of there. Go into goals, and then make sure that the information at the top is correct, and then just the one thing, which is the calorie, macro, nutrients goals, and you go in and set that. So that's the only setting up you need to do from a goals and nutrition perspective. There is one other thing in the friends section, but we'll come on to that later. So two things: go into goals and go into settings and your profile, set those up accordingly, and then you're ready to rock, basically. So the next thing to do is we need to have a look at how you add food to your application. So every time you have any food, the best thing to do is record it right then and there, because what will happen is if you try and record it later in the day, I promise you will forget. You won't remember how many grams of this or how many grams of that, and it won't be accurate. And it makes a massive difference. The people who take the time to track their food and check what they're doing and keep it updated will have greater results than the people that want to do it their own way and think they have a rough idea of what they want to eat. Okay, so this is super important. This gives us the ability to help you really fine tune and really get to the goals that you're looking to achieve. So the next thing we need to learn is how to add food to this application. There are two options here. I'm going to start with going into diary, which as you can see there, and click on diary. Now, this basically, as default, this will have just breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, I've customized this slightly, so I've added a pre and a post workout option, and then a mid-morning snack and an afternoon snack. So we're just going to imagine that this has got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you do want to customize this, you can go into the settings and change that for yourself. So it's really straightforward. If we have a look here, breakfast, there's nothing in there at the moment, so we click on add food just below breakfast. MyFitnessPal, why we use it is it has a phenomenally large database of foods, whether it's Costa coffees, whether it's supermarket branded foods or other brands, whether it's, you name it, it will be on there. It's very rare that it doesn't find a particular food. So you've got a few options here. The first one is to search for a food. If you can see this underneath the word breakfast, you'll see search for a food. You click in that box and then you can just type in anything you want. Let's type in a banana, for example. Click search, and then it will bring up a list of bananas. Okay. The best thing to do is go for the most generic one when you're doing things like this. So if we click on the top one here, it brings up a list. Now, the most important thing here is to make sure that we get the quantity correct. So number of servings. If we click on that line, it will bring up an option for you. So number of servings, 1. The best way of dealing with this is to click on the little arrow to the right hand side of the 100 grams, or you can click on where the numbers are. No, you have to click on the 100 gram bit, sorry. And then that'll bring up a list. Your best option is to always go for 1 gram and then go back to the top there. 90 grams is probably a medium banana, thereabouts roughly, and just type in 90 grams. Okay, click save. And then that was inputted. And what you can start to see here and start to learn is, how many calories does that banana have? How much protein does that banana have? How much fat and how many carbs? And if you scroll down, you'll get a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown. So top right, white tick, click that, otherwise it won't save it. If you click the arrow going back, it probably won't save it. And as you can see now, that's been entered into the breakfast category. And you just go back through, click add food, and add another option. Now, there is another option, or there's two more options I'm going to talk about here to add food. It has a wonderful barcoding system. If you see on the top right, below the three dots, just below multi-add, there's a barcode symbol. If you click that, the barcode, and then it will search the database, it will find out which food you've got. You can see that's the right one there. It's protein powder I'm using from Sun Warrior. And then same thing again, click on either the line of number of servings or the serving size, and you're back into the system. So it's already selected 1 gram. If you click on the little arrow, you'll see the other options. But yeah, go for 1 gram, and then I normally have about 40 grams of protein per shake, so I type in 40 there. Click save. Again, it'll tell me 152 calories for that serving, how much protein, how much fat, and how much carbs. And you click the little white tick top right. He says, there we go, and that's added that into breakfast as well. Okay, so you can see there at the top right, sort of right hand side of the word breakfast, you've got 232 calories. That's the complete total, and then it's got the breakdown of calories per food there. Okay, so the next thing to know is what happens if you put something in there and accidentally get it wrong. If you want to edit any of these things, just actually click on the line itself and then go back into it, and then you either click on number of servings or serving size. It'll bring up this menu. You can change that, and then click the tick top right to change. If you want to delete it completely from this from breakfast, for example, excuse me, just click that accidentally. You hold down with your finger on the item. So I'm going to look at the protein powder here, put my finger on that, hold it down, then a little box will appear. I want to delete the entry, so I click delete, and it's gone from breakfast, as you can see. If you put it in the wrong category, so actually I wanted to put this in mid-morning snack, for example, and I put it in breakfast, if I hold down on the bananas and click move to, I can move it to mid-morning snack, and as you can see, it jumps from one to the other. I want to delete that because I haven't eaten that today, so I'm going to delete that entry. So that's one of the easy ways of adding food. This is your diary. This is where everything goes into the food. So if we go to the top left, back into the menu system, and go to the home, which is the default, normally the default menu, you'll see at the bottom right there's a blue circle with a white cross in it. That is another option to add food. So you can either go into the diary in your menu system that way, or you can click on this cross, this blue box and a cross at the bottom, and it'll give you some options here. So the ones you need to focus on are obviously food. You can also adjust your weight. So when you weigh in, for example, when you want to, if you've lost weight or gained weight or whatever you're trying to achieve, you go in there and you can click on the weight option, and then you can move this left and right depending on what you're trying to achieve or what the weight is. You can also click on the photo item, take a photo of the scales if you'd like to as well. So that's that. And then if you go back to this home screen and click on the little blue circle with the white cross in the bottom right again, and you can see that there's food there. Let's click on the food, and it's just the same as going into your diary. Same idea. So if I want to put it into breakfast, click on breakfast, and we're back to this menu. So you can either search for the food by clicking in there and typing in the food, or you can use the barcode symbol on the right hand side like I just demonstrated. What you'll find also as time goes on, the application remembers what you've eaten, and it makes it so much easier for you. So you'll have a list, a growing list here under recent or frequent foods, which you can go and click on and find for quick, easy access. There is another option here, and we will talk about this later, with recipes on the right hand side. So for example, your green goddess smoothie, or the other smoothies that we sort of suggest to you guys to have in the mornings, you can go in here and manually add those, but we'll worry about that later. So just adding food, you either search for it, use the barcode, or as you go through, you'll start to get recently added items there. So that's how you quickly add from the home screen using the blue button top right, bottom right. So the next thing is to look at your nutrition. Okay, so we've inputted some food. We've had a whole day of inputting our food, and we want to, at the end of the day, we want to have a quick check to see, have we hit our macronutrient goals? Have we hit, have we had the right amount of food? Have we had too much, too little, or what the situation is? So go back into the menu system, click on nutrition, and then you will see here a breakdown of your macros. So if you look at the top, you've got calories, you've got nutrients, and you've got macros. Macros is the one that we focus our attention on a lot. This is an important factor of what we teach you guys. So you've already set up your macros in a setting set up at the beginning, which I explained right at the beginning of this demo. So what we can do here is we can see, how many grams of carbohydrates. If you look down at the bottom left, you've got a blue square, the word carbohydrates, and to the right hand side of that, you've got a brackets with a number, and in that number, that's telling us how many grams of carbohydrates I've had today. And then if you look to the right, it will say my percentage total currently, but my goal is 30%. And that will obviously change over the day. So at the moment, I've only had, I've had some post and pre-workout foods. I'm going to have lunch fairly soon. So that will change. But this gives you a great overview of where you are and, whether you need to tweak it up and down depending on what you're trying to achieve. So that's a breakdown of that. There are other options in here. If you click on, you see the word today, just above the pie chart, you'll see a day view with an arrow pointing down. Click on that, you've got a week option there, which gives you a breakdown and then an average. But our main focus is the day one there. So that's where you'll really be focusing in. Now I know this may seem like a lot of information to take in. It's like, holy crap, I've got all this stuff to learn, but actually it's really simple. And once you start doing this on a daily basis, it will become second nature to you. So if you are slightly overwhelmed with what I'm teaching you here, just take a deep breath, relax. It's actually really easy. I will run through again at the end of this demo, exactly what you need to do and the things you need to focus on, when you first start. And as you progress throughout the challenge, we will, you'll learn a little bit more about the application. Okay, so. As you can see here, we've got macros selected. You've got nutrients you can go through, and you can break down here fiber, sugars, and all your fats and the sodium, a few vitamins and things. And if you click on the left-hand one, calories at the top left, you can have a breakdown of where your calories are split up over the day. Okay, so if we go back to the home page. That is effectively the fundamentals of the system. Once you've set it up by going into the settings in your profile, going into the goals and setting up those two sections, that's your setup process. That's all you need to do to set it up. Okay, and then when you add more food, you can either do that from the home screen using the little blue circle at the bottom right, and you click your food or change your weight. Or you can go into the diary itself, and it's just an overview, and you can manually go in and add per if it's lunch, breakfast, or whatever you're doing. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is you need to go back into the menu system and click on Friends. So an important part of what we do here is we connect with you guys through this application. So if you're struggling for whatever reason, or you need a bit of advice or help or anything, then we can actually go in and have a look at your diary and say, hey, let's tweak this, tweak that, or whatever the advice we need to give you is. So if you go into Friends, what we need to do is click on the middle option there at the top. You've got News, Friends, and Requests. Click on Friends, and then top right you'll see a little cross. Click on that to add. Now 3 options. The only one you need is the bottom one where it says email. Click on that, and then you type in the username. So to add me, which you'll need to do, type in my name, and then at top right you'll have an arrow, white arrow. Click that. Now it'll probably bring up an error because I'm trying to invite myself. Yeah, I'm already friends with myself. That will then say, yeah, you've connected, or you've sent a request, I should say. So I'm just going to cancel that because obviously that won't work. You also need to go in and find Ronnie, and connect with him, but I'm already a friend with him. So those are the two ones you need to do, FitBanker and me. So if we go back, you'll see top right, you've got a word requests. Click on that. When anyone sends you a request to connect with you, which you may do with other people you're doing the challenge with, you go into here and you can select yes or no to be their friend. And that is predominantly it. You know, there are some more things in there, which if you want to go into more detail, we can discuss at a later date. But I really wanted to make this video to get it really clear on how you set this up. So I'm just going to go through a quick run through of an overview of what I've said in this video, because again, I appreciate, for me this is really straightforward. I've done it for 120 days, 122 days straight, and it's like second nature for me. But if you're just starting out, you've never used this application, I appreciate it may seem quite daunting. So let's just give a quick rundown of what you need to do. So setting up wise, first thing is to go into settings, go into your profile, change the details, make sure they're correct. Go back into the menu system, go into goals. Make sure everything on the top 5 boxes there are correct. Your starting weight, your goal weight, your weekly goal, activity levels, and then the most important thing is the calorie and macronutrient goal. So go into that and click on one of those, and then make sure that it meets 100%, with the carbs being 30%, the protein being 40%, and the fat being 30%. Okay, make sure you click the white tick. Go back out. And then it's just a case of, you can either add food from the home screen by using the little blue cross at the bottom, or you can go into the diary and add manually there, like we've shown. Just go into breakfast, click on add food, either type of recent food or search for a food, or use your barcode scanner and go from there. And then your progress, your nutrition, sorry. You've got your calories, your nutrients, your macros. Your macros is one of the most important things you'll be looking at, and you've got the breakdown there. So those are the basics and the fundamentals that you're going to need to understand how to use MyFitnessPal. If you do have any questions, then jump on the Facebook group and put a post up there. The reason we ask you to post in the Facebook group rather than us directly most of the time is other people may be struggling with the problems that you're having at the moment, and your post may be an absolute godsend to them, because they're dealing with the same thing. You come along and post it and say, hey, I need help with this. That you get the answer from someone, and actually it answers someone else's question as well. So if you do have any questions, please do that. And I think that's about it. So there we go. Alrighty.